This is All in Politics on the All In Network. It's the real to real, the jump off with your host, Walt Damage and Rob Cooper Jr. Music by DNA Beats. And now, All in Politics.
Good afternoon. Another episode of the real to real, the jump off. This is the All in Politics on the All In Network platform. And I am your host this afternoon, Walt Damage, along with my co-host
at Rob Cooper. What's going on? At Rob Cooper Jr. on Instagram.
Not Twitter.
What's going on, family?
Man? Oh, man,
can't
it's
complain.
A beautiful day
Yes,
in the
sir.
neighborhood, man.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
We got a lot to focus on this week, man, and the weekend wrap-up.
That's right. We do, man. Couple things that came across the wire. I'm sure everyone got notifications on either through your social media or through your iPhone or Androids or whatever you had. But President Biden, just came up on his 100 days. He gave his speech to the joint congressional sessions. And I thought it was a really good speech. He had an opportunity to really, kind of take a semi-victory lap on his handling of COVID-19. Although we're still, folks, don't get it twisted, we are still engaged in the worst global pandemic of our time. However, as the president mentioned, when he became sworn in to become president, he promised that he would have 100 American citizens vaccinated within those 100 days. And actually, he got 200 million Americans vaccinated. So kudos to him and the federal government. Under his watch, the CDC, FDA, and all those involved, the outreach programs in many of the areas. We've seen we continue to see a real aggressive piece in our neck of the woods in Pennsylvania, particularly in Philadelphia, of folks getting vaccinated. And we're hopefully, we will start to see, that curve flatten, something that was promised to us by our previous president, but he just could not get out. He could not allow himself to get out of the way of any type of progress that the scientists were trying to make. But all in all, from an economic, I think I saw something where the economy grew about 4%. Now, remind you, this is the first time that the economy has actually grown over the last year. We've seen rapid job losses and stock markets on decline throughout the year again through the mismanagement of the former president. So things are looking up. We're not there yet. We got a long way to go, Walt, but we gotta just stay vigilant.
Indeed, and I can concur with everything you just said. I just wanted to also add in a huge infrastructure bill in which he spoke upon. Like you said, the unemployment, immigration was also another big thing that he addressed as well. The unemployment and job sectors and things, big government shutdowns, and the 1%, man, they have to pay their fair share. I mean, for the last 4 years and beyond, are we going back to Reagan? The top 1% always had a cut, and when it was to their advantage, they've always been picking off the backs of the little man. So now it's time for equal levity of the playing field. So the common working class can see and show what they put into what they can get back for it.
That's right. I mean, I think I follow CNBC, and I get a lot of no notifications, and a lot of the Fortune 500 companies were giving it, in the companies that are on Wall Street, they were giving their earnings, and almost all of them, surpassed their expectations. Their earning projections from last year. So these huge corporations here in America, they didn't seem to feel the pandemic in where it counts the most in their pockets like most American people did. They certainly made out very well. So the wealthy, again, made out well. And to your point, Walt, it's time for them to pay their fair share. And that's, quite frankly, is what the president said to them. And let me just say this, Joe Biden traditionally has never been, well, the corporate America cannot find a better friend than Joe Biden, throughout his career in Congress. So for him to come out and say that, and looking to, come back to them and say, hey, you benefited on probably one of the worst tax bills ever, which, quite frankly, let's divest a little bit. America, our economic woes were always here. Let's be clear. The pandemic only kind of brought it to the forefront, or kind of expedited it. You know what I mean? So maybe, sometimes you can see some blessings in disguise. Perhaps if we did not have, a pandemic, probably, Trump would have been reelected, because, Americans are so tone deaf when it comes to important issues and the realities of the economy. And if it doesn't affect their homes or their personal lifestyles, then most of them really don't care. And they'll continue on the status quo. But the pandemic kind of brought things to everyone's home and let everyone know that, hey, there is a problem. And America
Exactly.
can finally admit that there's a problem.
Exactly. And it also showed the disparities in how much earnings they made as well. I mean, they made a
Mhm.
hand over fist
That's right.
earnings with this
That's
pandemic
right.
going on. And uh, to piggyback, like off we were just explaining, like Bezos and the rest of these guys, like, man, they made a killing.
That's right. That's right. That's right. And also on the show today too, we want to, we said about Biden's speech to Congress. We thought, both of us think that it was a really good speech. We got a long way to go, but also, as all these speeches, as we get, next year it'll be called the State of the Union. These type of addresses, there's always a Republican response, and Tim Scott who's an African American Republican congressman, was chosen by the GOP to give that response to talk about race relations. As we know, with the George Floyd verdict that came up, with Chauvin was convicted by a jury of his peers. Of course, we await sentencing. I guess we're about 7 weeks away from that. It'll be interesting to see, what the judge sentenced him to. And then also we want to bring in a friend of the All In Network, Mr. Jeff Moore. He'll be joining us later on in the show to talk about Black life insurance matters. We talk about Black Lives Matters, but it's a topic that I think every Black person really needs to become educated, regardless of age, regarding life insurance. And not to say that you just have a life insurance policy and that's it. Well, I got a life insurance policy through my job or whatever. I got a policy that was handed over to me by my parents. That's great. It's better than nothing. But I think Jeff is going to give us a perspective, where everyone at least once a year should be reviewing their life insurance policies and making sure that you are properly insured. That's one thing. Again, a lot of our people are not insured at all, but the bulk of our people are underinsured. So we want to make sure that we continue this awareness with Black folks, and talk about life insurance. And I think Jeff is going to give us some really nice perspectives, because life insurance is, yes, it should be looked at as a death benefit, but there's also some benefits in many of these life insurance vehicles that could benefit you while you still living. So Jeff Moore, for More Financial Strategies, will be joining us shortly to talk about that. But before we get to that, let's go back to Black Lives Matters. Tim Scott gave the Republican response to the president's address. And I know you called me shortly afterwards, up in arms, Walt. And I'm not even gonna go into it. I want to know what was you calling me about, man? What bothered you so much about Tim Scott's response?
A distraction. Uh, the main thing is that I think Biden touched upon the many things that the Republicans feared to talk about. They're still fearing to talk about. And because it was so strong and prolific and eloquently placed to the American people, Tim Scott would have been the only Manchurian candidate that they could have put in there to go up against him. One being an African American male, due to the state of affairs that's going on with the disparities of race relations in America. The Republicans knew there was nobody, and the only person that they have in their camp being an African American male congressman that can so-called speak to these ills of American society. But as we know, it was a great failure. In his speech, he had indicated that America wasn't racist, but in turn, he had given a statement stating that the left progressive Democrats. He remember being called the N word and other disparaging remarks and everything else like that. So to the contrary, if it's not racist, what do you call that? Euphemisms? What do you call that? Accolades? He missed the mark way off. And for him to make those remarks without thinking about the things and how they're held retrospectively was totally off cue.
It's interesting, and I'm, I was wrestling with this whether I wanted to give this guy energy, but there was so much, and I think I expressed this to you. My timeline, and let me just kind of go back. After again, like I said, I thought that the president gave a outstanding speech and really delivered a message, a well needed message to the American people. And it's really something that it's a speech. And if you didn't, the New York Times actually has the transcripts of President Biden's speech. If you really didn't focus on it, you really need to pull that speech up and read it, and really take with you the content that President Biden put in. It's urgent that we educate ourselves on what programs that he's trying to put together, and we cannot possibly give you all of it in the time frame that we're allotted on this podcast. But it seems like the focus of us as Black folks, meaning Black Twitter, Black Facebook, Instagram, we seem to be distracted, as you said, Walt. And I think in this case, I believe the Republicans succeeded. I believe that they got what they wanted by sending Tim Scott up and putting there. There was no other reason for them to put him there and place him there. They certainly have far more capable and, quite frankly, far more competent senators who are Caucasian than he is. So to put him out there just because of his skin color is an absolute insult. But then he comes on and he didn't get and I honestly didn't watch his speech. I'm just kind of reading some of the commentaries and some of the summaries of what he said. But he didn't necessarily respond to what President Biden spoke. He didn't address any of the issues that President Biden brought to the forefront. He didn't talk about, why he disagreed or what was his position on the infrastructure bill. He didn't give a response to President Biden's message about COVID-19 and the delivery of vaccines and what would have been the Republican strategy of it. No, he comes out and says America is not a racist country. That's the Obama mean. I'm just giving it, Why? Why, Tim? Why? I want to know why America is not racist. Because you turn around, as you said, Walt, not to repeat what you said, you come out and say America is not racist, but then you turn around and say you've been called the N-word.
And Uncle Tom.
And Uncle Tom. So right there, just you contradict yourself. So instead, you're not giving a rebuttal to what the president said an hour earlier to his speech to the nation and to Congress. You actually are rebutting yourself.
And not only that, he's opening up his arms to white supremacy, saying that he embraced the norms.
Correct. Correct. And white and my question to white folks, why do you always have to find someone of a darker hue than you to push your racist agenda, which you are again well qualified to do? And I said that's why I mentioned that. Tim Scott, as I don't care how white his teeth look, he will never be you. Tim Scott will never be a more competent white supremacist than you will ever be. You are the only one that is qualified to spew your white racist, white power structure agenda and spit it out to the American people. Tim Scott can't do that. Tim Scott never went to Africa and dragged a race of people and made them slaves and oppressed them for 400 years. Tim Scott didn't do that. Tim Scott don't know how to do that. Tim Scott can be your cheerleader. He can wear his little his little skirt and have his little pom-poms and cheer you on while you kicking his behind. But Tim Scott can't be as racist as you. You are the only one that is qualified to tell America. You come and tell us that America is not racist. Don't send a black man up there. Don't send Tim Scott. He's not qualified. He's not qualified. You created race. There was no such thing of race before you were created. You created race. You made skin color a disease. You made it. You made someone's skin color. You made the laws against someone's skin color. You did, not Tim Scott. You told black people they can't drink out of the water fountains, not Tim Scott. So there is no one more qualified. Should have got Lindsey Graham up there. His other South Carolina. Lindsey Graham is far more qualified to speak on race relations from the white perspective than Tim Scott.
He's from South down there. They could have threw Kennedy in there.
Correct.
I mean, if you want to get to the core of the essential part of racism and, the supremacist way of thinking, get it from where it originated from, down in the South. So why don't you get Kennedy on there? Like you said, you can go with Lindsey Graham, but I don't think Lindsey Graham can rub two wooden nickels together to get any type of sense out of it. But throw somebody down there that has a reputable background to it and put Kennedy out there to make it more believable.
Correct. You have, it's a ton of folks. Remember, we had an opportunity to impeach the absolute worst president of the United States, who edged on 40,000 idiots with rebel flags, nooses, and everything else, swastikas and whatnot, to storm the Capitol on January 6th. And the majority of you, Mr. White Congressman in America, voted and said that's okay. So, spare me with all the nonsense, man, and all the buffoonery out there. And I guess, when we look at the response, my question to Tim Scott is, how you feel now? Or are you just I believe he's tone deaf. I don't believe,
Or he could be giving marching orders. I mean, we can talk about.
We know that. Yeah, go ahead.
He's been giving his marching orders, and we've had many conversations behind the scene with different groups and different demographics And I remember telling you years ago that the GOP was compromised,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and now that the cancer is out, now we're doing a secondary round of getting the lingering effects of the cancer out. So now you're going to start seeing a plethora of court hearings. You're going to see subpoenas being driven. More news is going to start to break out about what Donald Trump and his clan behind the scene has been doing to destroy America and our American democracy. And you're going to see everything that's perpetuated and going on now has been driven by the GOP party. And let's not talk about the child sex trafficking and everything else like that. There's going to be a whole lot that's going to come out that's going to bring America to the realization that um, these parties and people aren't what they seem.
Well, speaking of that, the feds went marching into New York City. And they went into somebody's apartment in New York City. And
You
we
ain't
don't know
talking
what they
about Rudy Giuliani, are you?
we talking about America's mayor, Mr.
Uh,
Rudy Giuliani. Who was the those who don't know Giuliani by now, as you remember, Giuliani was the mayor of New York City. He's a former federal attorney, U.S. attorney, but his claim to fame was to be the lead attorney on the big lie with Donald Trump. So, putting together a whole bunch of fictitious lawsuits that couldn't even make it past the legal clerk, let alone make it into a court. Made a mockery of our electoral process, and quite frankly, made a total mockery of our democracy by defending the nonsense of, um, on Donald Trump, saying that the election there was irregularities in the election. But the feds are now coming after Mr. Julie, and it sounds like the federal government is not too comfortable in Giuliani's dealings in the Ukraine. What's going on with that, Walt?
I believe it was all smoke and mirrors from the beginning. So, what's the best thing a person can do to take the heat off themselves?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Like, so everything that they were talking about Biden is doing, that administration or these people had a part in doing, and particular, the participant activities was current. So, what I'm saying, Joe Biden and the son, because the son is under investigation, and everything's checking out. But
Right.
for Giuliani to go out there and I forgot the ambassador's name, but explicitly try to get her off her position so she wouldn't look into the corruption that was going on in the Ukraine at that time, brings a whole stamp to the level of what they were trying to achieve, which was trying to undercover, the corruption.
Mm-hmm.
So this campaign that he tried to launch to go into the Biden's affairs and get information on them to discredit them so he can bring down Joe Biden's candidacy because they know they couldn't run an effective campaign against Joe. They didn't have nothing on Joe. So they had to try to muddy the waters. And as you see, we have a 46th president. A new 46th president and not a reoccurring 45th president.
That's right. And you're listening to the All In Politics podcast with Rob Cooper and Walt the Damager. If you are enjoying this content on All In Politics, make sure you go over to YouTube and type in the All In Network. And when you go to All In Network, you'll find other great content from Elijah Cooper and Mike Badgett. Generally some sports commentaries, everything from the NBA to the NFL and other college basketball, college sports, all of your sports knowledge, analytics, and just quite a good pop culture discussion is handled right there on the All In Network with Elijah Cooper and Mike Batson, who are the founders of the All In network. But Walt, if they want to continue to get this content without always having to go over to YouTube and searching for it, what should they do?
Well, first of all, we want them to subscribe. Always subscribe to the All In Network platform. But what we want you to do is whatever device you may be using at that time, electronic device that is, tablet, iPad, iPhone, PC, whatever. Want you to grab that thing, jump up and down through a 360-degree turn, stop, drop, shut them down, open up shop, and smash that subscribe button.
Smash that subscribe button. Particularly, they got some commentary coming up after the draft. I know many of our listening and viewing audience are Eagles fans. I think Elijah and Mike will have, and Mike's I think a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, so they'll have some interesting commentary on the draft, which is actually going on as we speak. I think the rounds 4 through 7. So again, listen what we think about Howie Roseman and some of the other owners and general managers in the NFL. See what let's see what you think. Make sure that you join in the All In Network with Elijah Cooper and Mike Batson. The other thing too, Ben, about getting back on Giuliani. Question for you, Walt. Do you think that Giuliani will, if he's convicted or charged, do you think that he will flip on Donald Trump?
Of course he will. I don't know if you remember back in 2018. It may have been 2019. Right. And they asked him on, I don't know if it was CNN or MSNBC, if Trump was to, put you in a particular predicament, what would you do? He was like, oh, I don't think he'll do that because I got insurance. So if you were a betting man,
which I am,
okay, and you hear a statement such as that, the provocation speaks for itself. I mean, right. You don't put something out and energy out into the atmosphere unless you think it's going to come to fruition. So apparently he knew that Trump knew something on him, but he got the goods on him.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, I think, everyone around Donald Trump and Giuliani being no different, they saw an opportunity. He whether they liked him or not, or whether they thought he was competent or not, what he did do, he sat in a position of power. He sat in the most powerful chair, arguably, in the world. So that gave them, these power hungry clowns, access to the power that he had for a price. I think now with Donald Trump out of that chair, I think now with Donald Trump pretty much virtually off the grid, with all the social media platforms banning him from all their media places, I don't think that there's any more upside in being loyal to Donald Trump. He is a criminal. He will be dealt with. I think this is the tip of the iceberg. Once I believe they, don't quote me on this, and guys, just go back to reference to some of the news articles, but I want to say that the feds got out of there with some computers or some technology devices. Someone hit us in the chat and correct us on that, but I believe they got some real good information there that they can search through and find whatever records they're looking for.
Yeah, one of the things they were saying, Rob, was that attorney-client privileges.
Right.
So that right now they're going to court and fight for. But you are right; they did gather some cell phones, laptops, and things of that nature, for which the investigation was initiated upon. But like I said, yet is bit to be said. But one of the things I just wanted to back up on you about was the you saying that Trump is like almost out of sight, out of mind. But we still have to remember that he has those presidential secrets and codes. So that's one of the other things that we still have to be vigilant and cognizant of,
Right.
because he still has America in a
Right.
vulnerable state.
Right. Right.
You know,
Yeah.
he's liable.
I definitely did. And I think Biden, I think Biden already knows, because I think that's why, he, um, has been so forthright in cranking out, his, his energy towards Putin, and been real forthright with it. So, I mean, we definitely are looking forward to it. But like we said, man, this is something that we really want to continue to look on. And I'm gonna tell you something, man. Going back to some other pieces that we spoke on earlier, about Black Lives Matter. Moving on to another topic, I think is really important for us, is to understand that Black life insurance matters. I think the president, again, as he spoke on race relationships, and we definitely want to encourage him to continue on. But our next guest, Jeff Moore, for more financial strategies, is here with us today. Jeff is the president and CEO of the Howie Roseman fan club. I mean, my bad. I read the script wrong. I'm blaming that on Elijah for writing the script wrong. Of the president of More Financial Strategies. What's going on, Sans?
It's More Financial Solutions, but that's what's up.
More
It's all good.
Financial Solutions. That's
And I'm
good.
president of the Howie Rosen fan club. Okay, well, all right. Well, hey, listen. Listen, I mean, sometimes your strategy goes good and sometimes your strategy go bad. Time's still out on Howie Roseman. But I heard he called you up and got the scoop on the number 2 pick, and you gave him the okay. But I ain't gonna go there. I ain't gonna go there because you endorsed the 2 ACLs and the 2 surgeries on the ankles. That's what you endorsed.
Oh
No,
man,
sir. No, sir.
Don't talk about my birds.
That's right. That's right. No, I'll say
There's
this,
2
man.
things you can't talk about. You can't talk about my
Right.
birds, and you can't talk about my Sixers.
That's right. That's right. But I'll tell you what, though, Don, the first pick, I'm 100% on board with him. Elijah will tell you, about a month and a half ago, like literally like 10 minutes before they did it, I said the Eagles should trade back, because I like the player that they got, but I'm all about value, and I didn't want them to draft Smith at 6, or a wide receiver period at 6. If they could move back, this is a deep draft. If they could move back and get some more assets, by all means, do that. Now I can't.
You got to look at this draft a lot like you got to look at life insurance. You understand?
That's right.
Like this draft is all about, getting positional players that can help you now, right? And it's also about making sure that your foundation and that your legacy is going to be built going forward, correct?
That's right.
So
that's right.
So you drafting players to come in to, in essence, protect your money.
That's right. That's right.
So when when you make the correlation with the Eagles and the draft pick, and how that relates to life insurance and how that relates to Black life insurance, is that you got a structure, you got a system, you got a money replacement vehicle, because all these guys getting old, so you got to bring the new cats in to keep the money flowing. So I'm gonna tie that into life insurance like this, and why Black life insurance matter. And because life insurance is it's a reason why they call it life insurance first and foremost. We've been hip and we've been informed that life insurance is for, to bury you. You get your little burial policy, and then that's life insurance. But that's not what life insurance was about, and that's not why it was created. So the whole essence of life insurance is to be a money replacement, an income replacement vehicle. So, and in the way that we utilize it in our practice at More Financial Solutions is that we set up a system that protects your money, that you are in control of your money, that you are always earning money. And at the end of the day, when you take your last breath, your money is replaced to your family. Right. So that is the game. And that's how the game board and that's how the draft is all about setting up. So when you're setting up your draft in the NFL, you want to have your company that when you are positioning your players on the field, your players are always going to have some guarantees. Your players are going to have some dividends. Your players are going to have some flexibility. Your players are going to be liquid where they can do multiple things and have multiple jobs and have multiple tasks. Your players want to be able that if they got hurt, you got somebody to replace them. And then, we use this concept called rinse and repeat. You earn money, you earn dividends, you get liquid, and then you rinse and repeat the process by getting more and more and more. So life insurance is not for when you're dead. Life insurance is for while you're living, because if you set it up and you structure it properly, you will have money at all phases of your life to take advantage of all kinds of opportunities that's going to come down the pike. An opportunity when the stock market is going to crash. Yes, it's going to crash. Opportunities when this real estate market is going to crash. Yes, it's going to crash. You got some money set away that you have access to, that you don't need to have no credit report, that you ain't got to worry about, oh God, how my credit is. I need to go get some money. What my credit look like. You got a pool of money that you can go in and buy depressed assets. And the best part about it all, and this is what they don't tell you, and this is what I'm here to teach you, is that you can do that with no government taxation. Nobody has got their hand in your pocket but you. That's the new game. That's the game that we haven't been taught. That's the game that's been swept under the rug. And they gave us this, oh my gosh, you only need you don't need money for just to bury you. They gave us the game and marketed the game to us that, you don't need to leave nobody, you don't need to leave no money for nobody else. They gave us the game that, ain't nobody leave me nothing, so I ain't leaving nobody else nothing. They gave us the game that structure your money where it controls and builds wealth for everyone except you. So that's the game that they're marketing and promoting to us. And in the meantime, they're getting paid. In the meantime, they stacking loot and life insurance like it ain't no tomorrow. Look at guys like David Geffen, had one of the biggest life insurance contracts on record. Look at your boy, the Dodge father. Everybody, he calls himself the Dodge father now.
Right. Elon.
He pimping life insurance like it ain't no tomorrow. Look at your boys. Look at your boys that's running the number one cable company in the country with Comcast. The Roberts brothers, the Roberts family, pimping life insurance like it ain't no tomorrow. And you walk around here talking about I'm buying term and investing in the difference. I got term insurance, and I'm gonna put my money in my 401k plan. That's what I'm doing. I'm getting paid. You over here building wealth, but you're building wealth for everyone else and not for you and your family. Come on, let's get into it. Let's talk about it. Let's go. You ain't got me fired up, calling me the Howie Roseman. I got me fired up over here now.
Go ahead, Walt.
This is Walt. How you been, bro?
Man, if I was any better, I'd be better.
Oh man. So what I want you to do is for the people, the layman's, can you just break down some of the misnomers or misinformation that's been given out, and primarily on a lack of education of how we can build ourselves to a better brand, like you're presenting with your brand? What would you give, like the layman's people that's just now coming into it,
Yo, you
just to
cut off
break
a little
off
bit.
some of the
You cut off
misdemeanors,
a
like
little bit.
not misdemeanors.
You cut off a little bit. Repeat the
Can you
question
hear me
for
now?
me.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you now. Yeah, repeat the question.
Yeah, I said, can you break down, and for the layman's people, some of the misnomers or the misfacts that's been given out about how we can rise
All right,
to
I'm gonna
that
go
level
old
of that?
school. I'm gonna go old school on you right now.
Right.
I'm gonna throw out a movie, 1988. Do the right thing. And the biggest quote from that movie was when my man said, "Wake up!"
Right.
So I'm
That's
saying,
right.
wake up! This product is not what it is. This is about what it does. All right,
Right.
let me remix that. Let me remix that. Is not what it can do for you, is what it will do for you. All right, let me remix it again. Because what he over
That's
here,
right.
he over here,
Right.
he trying to catch a 16 on this, but I'm gonna try to break it down for him. It's about having a product. And when you take this product and you put it with a strategy, you are unstoppable.
Mhm.
It's like having a starting five of AI, Kobe Bryant, Shaq, LeBron James, and Tim Duncan. Ain't too many starting fives gonna beat that starting five.
That's right.
And I got
That's right.
Wilt coming off the bench. I got Seth Curry coming off the bench. And I got Karl Malone coming off the bench. Ain't nobody beating that starting five. So, like with life insurance, ain't no other product can beat life insurance one-on-one.
Correct.
It's like having the punching power of Mike Tyson with the hook of George Foreman. You ain't beating that guy. In the heart of Evander Holyfield. So let me just break it down for you right now and tell you what it does and what it do for you. Like, first of all, when you have a life insurance contract that provides you with cash, we're talking whole life insurance. And I'm saying it more specifically from a mutual company that pays dividends. Now, every company don't pay dividends. So I'm saying a mutual company that pays dividend. And it's so important that you get a company that has mutual company that pays dividends, because here's what happened behind the scenes. The insurance companies take your money and they make money. Mm-hmm. And they are the most skillful, and they are the most let me use a term that Walt can relate to, because sometimes hey Walt, the insurance companies got hustlers on their squad.
That's right.
Oh, I know that.
They are the only entity. They're the only entity that has never lost money.
That's right.
So when you get with a mutual company with an insurance contract, they got over 100 years of making money.
Right.
So they made money when the stock market crashed in 29, when we had the Great Depression, during World War I and World War II, the Korean War, in every incident in American history, insurance companies made money. And when you have a mutual company, that mutual company takes the money that it's made and they share it with all of the policy owners. Mm-hmm. So according to what you put into your plan is going to be what you're going to get out of your plan, or what you're going to get contributed to your plan. Mm-hmm. Another benefit is because of the way that the Internal Revenue Service classifies life insurance premium as being a return of access premium. You get special tax breaks for having life insurance.
That's right. That's right.
You get an ability to get a guaranteed interest rate.
Mm-hmm.
So when you add on guaranteed interest rate and dividends, and these companies have been giving you a guaranteed interest rate and dividends for over 100 years, my man got more money, more money, more money. So
that's right.
What trips us up is a lot of us trying to get rich quick. That's why Rob out here got all kind of money in Bitcoin. You know, he over here shooting dice. He over here shooting dice on Fridays. You know, he down in AC on Thursdays on the roulette wheel. He trying to get paid.
That's right, black baby, black.
Like, put it on black. I put
it on black.
On black.
Put it all
whole
black.
paycheck. That's right.
But what I'm saying is that, like, when you build in wealth, wealth is not a get rich quick scheme.
That's right.
That's
right.
why a lot of us black folks are turned off about building wealth with life insurance, because we always trying to get quick overnight.
That's right. And you know what? It's interesting because I'm hearing black folk who are complaining, and we're just talking about the Biden's address and about the capital gains tax. And now I'm hearing some black folks who are complaining about the capital gains tax. Want to go into that and how could you use life insurance to kind of leverage yourself against such?
Well, you
taxes?
better get you some. You better get you some right now before they change the rules. But right
That's
now, there is no capital gains tax on growth in life insurance. There is none. There is not an income tax. There is no tax whatsoever. Unless you build up a policy that has more than $25 million of cash value in it and you got bad strategy. It's the only way you're going to pay money in life insurance tax.
Right.
But it's the only vehicle. It's the only vehicle that does not have any taxation on any buildup in the plan. And I say that, and I know some people are going to be out there like, but what about a Roth IRA? Or what about a Roth 401k plan? Yeah, they took those Roth IRA, the Roth 401k was all written from the tax code based on life insurance. So Senator Roth, that was from Delaware at the time, he copied the exact code from how the IRS treated the taxation of life insurance and copied the exact code. He plagiarized the exact code for how life insurance is being treated, and then he got a name. He living forever now.
Yes, sir.
Came from Senator Roth. It ain't nothing but it's nothing but cash value in a program that fund investors get an opportunity to make money for managing your money. That's all it does. But the interesting game about that real quick is that there is some talk in Congress right now for taxing the gains on your Roth IRA and taxing the gains in your Roth 401k. Now, we don't know if that's going to come to fruition, but they talking about all kind of ways to get money. The government's on a get money trip right now because they need money to pay for all of its subsidies that we got going on. It's like
people forget.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
People forget last year, the Trump administration pretty much threw away $7 trillion, $1 trillion a month, and they threw it into the stock market or whatever they threw it into programs trying to stimulate a dead economy. So now somebody got to pay that piper, man. Somebody cover that paper that was printed all that paper that was printed last year. But I got a question about life insurance in college. Okay,
come on.
So you got my grandbaby.
Your grandbaby. Tell me about your
3 years old. 3 years old.
Come on.
3 years old, right? So now, why should I get a life insurance? She ain't got no jobs. She ain't got no money. There's nobody dependent on her. But for college, We gotta make sure that she gets to the college.
Come on, baby.
Why we gotta go with life insurance?
I'm gonna tell you why.
Why can't I get a 529 or why can't I just wait?
Why.
She gonna be a star basketball player because her daddy was a star basketball player.
I got you.
She gonna get a scholarship. So what I need life insurance for?
All right, so I'm gonna tell you why you need life insurance for. And I'm gonna tell you why the difference of the 529 plan. But first, I'm gonna beat the 529 plan up first. All right, so your granddaughter, right? Under your thing, she gonna go to college and she gonna get a scholarship, right?
That's right.
Because her daddy had a crossover and a wicked jump shot, right?
Right.
Those are your words, right?
That's right.
So what they gonna do with all the money that's in the 529 plan? You can't use it for your baby because she got a scholarship. What you gonna do with the money? That money is in 529 jail. It's in 529 jail. Like, hey.
So help me figure this out. Help me figure it out.
So let's check it out. So a 529 plan is an incentive where colleges and universities and the government partnered that you can build an account used specifically for your kid going to college, right? Now, here's what they don't tell you. What happens if you can't get a scholarship? Your kid's balling out, get a scholarship. What happens to that money? In order to get access to that money, if you're not going to use that money, you're going to be paid taxes on that money. And they might hit you with a penalty, but that's another story. The second part is what happens if your granddaughter doesn't get a scholarship, right? And she says, I want to be like Uncle Walt and become an entrepreneur. I don't want to go to college. I want to become an electrician. I want to flip real estate. I'm not going to college. I want to open up a boutique, or I want to go and be a content creator for YouTube. What happens if she don't go to college? You didn't build all this money up in a program that can only do one thing.
Work the program.
And what happens if your kid don't want to do that one thing? Or second of all, what happens if she wants to go to college and she wants to go to, and she lives in Texas, right? And she wants to go to Penn State. I got to slide a We Are Penn State in there, right? And she wants to go to Penn State. And Pennsylvania says, oh, we don't accept the monies that's in the Texas program. Right, what happens then? What happens if the state doesn't accept, if one state doesn't accept the plan that's in another state? What happens then?
Right.
So I'm a firm believer that you give your money and you give your money more than one job. That's what I love about life insurance, because if you had life insurance in a program that builds cash value and you want to use that money to go to college, guess what? Here's some of the advantages that they don't tell you. One, you writing this down? One, write it down, y'all. This free game. Free game alert. Free game alert. It's coming right now. One, all of the money that builds up in that cash value life insurance is shielded from financial aid calculations. In most states, shielded. They don't even see it because there's no way to put it on the FAFSA form.
That's right.
Number two, your kid can get disqualified from getting back onto the 529 plan. Your kid could get disqualified from any grants or scholarships because you got to use that money. That money that's in that 529 plan gets earmarked. And you could substantially hurt your kid because that money is there, because they couldn't qualify for grants and scholarships if that money wasn't there.
Right.
Getting back to life insurance, what happens if your daughter does get that scholarship to play ball? All that money that's in her cash value now, you could use that money to buy her car. You could use that money to pay for her wedding. You could use that money to give her a first investment property while she's living on campus. You can use that money for anything. It's not in money jail. You could keep that money if you structured it right with good strategy and use it for your retirement. You can use it to buy some assets. So that's what the difference is. It's about having freedom, control, flexibility, and liquidity. So when you're looking at the 529 plan and why life insurance knocks out the 529 plan, it's not because of what it is, it's because of what it does. And what it does is it shelters and shields your money. What it does is that it grows every year. It's not subjected to any kind of stock market risk. It's not subjected to any kind of fees. And it's definitely not affected. It's not affected by any kind of taxes. So that's the game.
You are listening to some outstanding financial wisdom from our guest, Jeff Moore from Moore Financial Solutions.
Personal service to value people to trust. That's right.
And so, Productions Part 2.
Yes, sir. And Jeff, before we close out this power hour,
we can talk about this all night. You got to have
all night long. All night long. We're gonna definitely bring you back.
Come on, because black life insurance matters.
And let's talk about that.
Now, check this out. Let me just do a PSA right now, right?
Yes, sir.
So I said this about a year and a half ago, and I want to say it again, and I want to say it again, and I want to say it again, and I want to say it again and again and again. You want to stop police brutality in America and the treatment of black folks? Let the black folks get a financial partner, because America is all about the money. Before America is racist, America is about money. So if you want to get something happen on your behalf, you got to get some money partners. So the money partners, and what I believe, this is what Jeff Moore believes, is that if you have a money partner that set up the money system, you can't lose. So life insurance was the first in the original money system in America.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people don't know that life insurance bailed out our government several times.
That's right.
So when you partner with life insurance, if every black person had $1 million of coverage on themselves, you ain't gonna have no police brutality. You ain't gonna have no senseless killing. You're not going to see these incidences that happen in all across the country that's been happening almost 60 times this year already. You won't see that.
Right.
Because some insurance company CEOs will be calling them those police chiefs and saying, yo, y'all messing up the money.
And give them the answer to the real trick question. What would $1 million policy cost on a 8-year-old black boy? Approximately, I know
it would be pennies on a dollar.
That's right.
And the thing is, the insurance companies wouldn't give $1 million policy on a young black 8-year-old unless their parents had that kind of insurance on themselves first.
Right.
So that's how you keep the money system in your family at all times.
That's right.
So if a cop did come out and did something that was inappropriately and killed someone, there's money and income replacement in the family immediately, and now the family have the money resources to go get justice. And the way justice is set up in this system that we in right now is all filtered on how much money you have.
That's right.
So you got to catch the game. You got to catch the game. The game is we as black folks are not getting ahead because we don't have, one, a money partner, and two, we don't have no control of our money. So when you have a system that has been built upon money and you don't have a money partner and you don't have any control of your money, what the hell happens?
That's right.
We can sit up here and be on these podcasts all day. We can sit up here and say Black Lives Matter, which Black Lives does matter. We could do all the marching. We could do all of this. but it doesn't have any impact and control unless we have control over our money.
And how do you get control over your money? Black life insurance matters. Thank you,
Bam,
Jeff.
because that is the moat that protects your money castle.
That's right.
Throughout all stages of your life. If you set up and get a right policy, life insurance, cash value policy, you will have money throughout all phases of your life, guaranteed. So that's Amen. How you got to build your financial home. You build your financial home with a product, with a partnership, with a system that's going to keep money and give you access to money throughout your whole life.
All in politics listeners and viewers, if you don't know this man, you better get to know him. Mr. Jeff Moore. Jeff, tell them how they can get a hold of you, man.
You can reach me 856-642-4072 by telephone, and you can also reach out to me on my website, which is Moore MOORE strategy STRATEGY.com, because you need more strategy in your life. You need a money partner and you need some strategy, and you will be unstoppable. And so we got to get back to what really matters in America. America is a money system that's built on capitalism. If you don't have control of your money, you're doomed. Nobody's coming to save you. Rob, Walt, nobody's coming to save you. You have to save yourself. The government can't save you. They can't. They are too leveraged. They got too much debt. They got too many other priorities that they need to fund. The government don't care about you. You have to start caring about yourself. And the way that you care about yourself is that you first got to get control of your money. It's a damn shame that Black folks and the money out of communities is gone in less than 6 seconds out of our communities. It's a damn shame. So Black lives is not going to start to matter until we get control of our money, because we live in a country that's built on money.
That's right.
We thank people like you coming to the forefront, bringing the education to the people, because you got to remember, it was very small, minute groups that was receiving information on this level.
Yes,
so
indeed.
we definitely appreciate, your being willing to come and put this information out there, because it's very scarce. So with that being said, please, for our listening fans, reach out to Mr. Jeff Moore, because this is a very detrimental and very accruable information that he's given at this time.
And I just want to leave with this thing, since y'all giving me the boot, because I got deemed as having the Howie Roseman, he's president of the fan club. So y'all hating on Howie, but that's all right though. Because I'm gonna tell Howie, I gave him 38 seconds of love. You know what I mean?
listen, we are definitely Eagles fans, but Howie Roseman on a late. I mean, he probably made it come up these last couple of days, but in the past, man.
The draft is like having a 401k account, man. It's a crash.
That's right.
It's a crash. Sometimes you hit and most times you lose. It's like going to Vegas, man, and betting on the roulette wheel when you don't bet on black. It's like sometimes you hit, but most times you lose.
That's right. But you can't lose. You can't lose with life insurance.
You can't lose with the cash value life insurance I use. I even wrote a book about it. It's called My Cash Value is King. You can get it on Amazon, and it just talks to you about money. It talks to you about affirmations, because a lot of us, we don't have no money because our mindset is all messed up about money. But that's a whole totally different conversation. And if you bring me back, we could talk about this whole money mindset thing, because you can't be rich. You can't be rich if you're thinking that you're poor. But that's a whole thing, and it starts in your head, and then gets into your heart and spoken out of your mouth. But the book goes into mindset, money, and the benefits of cash value life insurance. It's called My Cash Value is King. How you build a financial legacy now that you can have for your financial future. It's about having money in place all the time that you can take advantage of opportunities. And that's the thing that I want to leave with your audience today. The stock market is good. Real estate is good. Owning a business is good. Having life insurance and having a product that will give you a consistent gain in your money every year and protect your money is one of the most fundamental things and the most foundational thing that you can have to build not only money, but build wealth. And not only to put a thing in place that your family will always have monies. And when you look at the history of how this country was built, and you look at the names of all how this country was built, when you look at the names like the Rockefellers and all of the great people who came before us, they used this with life insurance. So we as Black folks got to take a lesson from what has worked for over 100, 200 years in the foundation and formation of this country and incorporate it into our lives, into our money strategy, so our families can always have a money system in place. That's the game. That's the American way. We got to get control of our money. We got to put it in vehicles that you cannot lose. The way that you build wealth is that you do not violate the principle of compound interest. Compound interest is the way to build wealth is never to interrupt compound interest, because the longer you have it, the better it gets. So that's the key. And life insurance is the only product that will not interrupt compound interest.
Wow.
Thank you for attending my TED Talk.
Sir. Thank you again, my brother. And again, Black Lives Matter, Black Life Insurance Matter, because Black wealth matters. So
Black lives will matter. Black lives will matter when Black folks get life insurance and partner up with these companies that's going to make sure that they always got money in the family. Money to use for now and money to use for later. Because guess what, Rob? We're all going to graduate one day. Guess what, Walt? We're all going to graduate one day. And this is the thing that you replace money back into your family life's whole so they can have the money to fund the things that they're passionate about.
That's right.
Yes, sir. And on that note, like I said, we definitely appreciate our guest to the show, Jeff Moore. Not only is he a personal friend of me and Rob's, he is a very knowledgeable and informative individual in which you guys need to get in touch with to get your household finances and life stabilized. So once again, it's been a very productive and innovative show. We thank you guys for listening. Each one teach one. Please stay vigilant on your daily politics. Always turn into the All In Politics platform on the All In Network, where we bring you a variety of platforms as far as sports, talking, politics, whatever you may have it. We appreciate your love, and we hope that you stay vigilant and do your job as a patriot of the United States of America. And on that note, we bid you adieu, much love, and stay blessed.
Peace.
Peace.